Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the Metro Ford Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League, where tonight we're at the virtual Darlinton Raceway for the first of our Chase playoff rounds. It's 16 drivers that are going to try to advance to the next round as we whittle them away. Tonight, again at Darlinton, 220 laps of action is going to be non-stop. For drivers that are known for their good green flag runs, it's going to be interesting to see what the Lady in Black has in score for our drivers today. As always, on behalf of Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East in the booth, bringing the action 1080p, 60 frames a second, as we get ready to start this party the right way. A single car qualifying is about to start, and it's going to be a great race here today. Now, something we're doing a little bit differently. Once the drivers start clicking up on the left side of your live timing and scoring tower on the left side of your screen, you will see our chase drivers highlighted in yellow. So those will be the drivers that have the opportunity to make it all the way to the championship. We've got some drivers as well that were able to put down a banner on the top of their car or the windshield of their car, a yellow stripe signifying that they are in the chase playoffs. Now, that's a little bit hard to notice for somebody like Steve Thompson, number 67 machine, who runs a yellow paint scheme all the time. But just here in a moment, you'll see the driver's name start popping up on that left side. All these drivers, they have the Chase Championship in play as well as the Manufacturers Championship. As always, thank you to Peter Kopko Cocoa Pops for putting those points together. Right now, it's Toyota out in front with 995 points. Chevrolet is in second with 977 points, and then Ford is lagging behind with 887 points. So as Thompson puts down his opening lap, he's on top of provisional pole, but just gets edged out by MacArthur. Two chase drivers on the left side of your screen that are doing their best to put down some laps early on. This is one of the longer races these guys are going to have all season long, so it'll be interesting to see how driver attrition plays at this track. Again, it is a fixed setup league. So there's not a lot you can do to the car besides changing your steering ratio and brake input bias to tune the car to your satisfaction. As Steve the Mule Thompson clicks off a 29.59, good enough for a provisional pole on his second lap. Brian Lynch making his way out in the number 15 machine. Again, that's a good example of what that stripe looks like on the top of your car, signifying that he is in the Chase Championship. And the number 15, excuse me, Hooters backed Chevrolet. 16 drivers in the Chase. I believe we've had 14 of them show up tonight. I think we were Scales joined at the last moment. I don't believe Kopko is making it here today. And not quite the wildly massive grids that we've seen in the past from all of our competitors. I'm not sure if it's since it's a holiday weekend, a long and technical track, or what may be happening. But Brian Lynch clicks off a pretty quick time, good enough for 6th in his opening lap. Let's see what he can improve on to try and edge out Steve the Mule Thompson, your current provisional pole setter, as he makes his way down the Boeing backstretch. One of those tracks that looks deceptively easy to drive, but is definitely not, especially as the car's starting to tighten up. It becomes a one-groove racetrack very quickly, and it looks 5-6 lanes wide, but if you find yourself down the inside apron, you're going to have a bad time very, very quickly, as Lynch was not able to improve on his 29.93. He was going to have to settle for 6th, depending on what everyone else does on track. Let's take a look at Patrick Milligan, the E-Metro Ford driver himself. He's coming out and looking for a great showing today, as a lot of chase setters are putting down their qualifying times. Now, there's a few drivers out on track that you will not see put down qualifying times. That's going to be Kelly Cool, number 117. We've got Jess Vaught in the 118 and Joey Buscemi in the number 128 machine. Those triple-digit drivers are newer competitors here for the Metro Ford Cup Series and have to prove their ability to run nice and clean before they are allowed to go out on track and qualify with the big dogs. Milligan, his opening lap, good enough for a 3rd with a 29.73. Let's see if he can improve it all and propel that Ford Mustang higher up into the standings. Milligan crosses the line for the final time. Can he improve on a 29.73? Ever so slightly projects himself up into second with a 29.62, only 0.03 of a second than Steve Thompson's fastest lap time. We've got Dode Hoskins out on track. The number 66 machine, the Ford, always easy to spot, bright green and yellow. One of our other chase competitors out here today. Dode gets a little bit of a wiggle there on the number 66 machine. His fast lap time was at 30.17, so that's going to be good enough for a top 10 finish, so not too bad in qualifying. As now we've got Scales out on track in the number 8, charging hard. We've only had about 15 drivers qualify so far. We've got 10 more waiting, so it's going to be interesting to see what the strategy is among these competitors. Maybe waiting for the track to possibly cool down. It is a 10-minute qualifying session, allowing all these drivers to kind of wait and see when they want to go out and make something happen. And I'm interested to see, normally, again, green flag runs are kind of the norm here for the Old Bastards Racing League. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Darlington, if the drivers are able to continue that nice clean streak they've had in the past, or if they might have a little bit more bad luck here today. Scales cooks off a 30.79 on his opening lap, puts him up into 16th spots in qualifying. And let's see, does Scales improve? He does not with a 31.26. Tom Ogle, I believe, is about to go out for his qualifying. The bright pink Team Miata driver. Again, somebody else that is out there in the chase here today. Ogle is one of the easiest drivers to spot with that extremely colorful Toyota Camry. The captain for the Team Miata drivers. It's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do coming out here today. Andrew Hess also making his way out on track in the number 54 machine. So I believe we have 14 chase drivers making it out tonight. I'm not quite sure who we're missing. I know Andrew Hess is out on track, Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson, Dean Greer's on track, but I do not believe that he is in the chase for this one. What about Al Turner? I don't see Al Turner out on track today. No, Al Turner, number 76 machine's already put down his qualifying. Not quite sure who we're missing here. The entrance into the chase playoffs was Andrew Hess, Patrick Milligan, Josh Robinson, Dwayne MacArthur, Tom Ogle, Steve Thompson, Chris Scales, Mike Schrader, Michael Everhart, Old Titanium, Dode Hoskins, Gary Kipper, Peter Kopko, Brian Lynch, Greg McDaniel, Dakota Pischke, and Al Turner make up all of our chase competitors. So a lot of fast guys we've been used to calling out all season long are making their way out here and putting on a show for everybody. So I know we're missing Kopko. I'm not sure who the other unknown is that did not make it out on track. Possibly Schrader, I believe. as I believe that is correct. So we're missing Kopko and Schrader that will be scored as a DNS here today. But qualifying is going to come to an end, and we're going to get ready to start this party here for the Metro Ford Cup Series, as drivers make their way to the grid to do battle amongst their competitors. Everyone trying to avoid any penalizations here today, not wanting to get into any of their competitors and cause what we call the big one. But we're going to run through tonight's grid, starting on pole, Tom Ogle, the number 11 machine. Josh Robinson starting second, and the number 23, Steve the Mule Thompson, number 67, pilot, starting third on track. Patrick Milligan in the 18 starting fourth. Andrew Hess starting fifth in the number 54 machine. Lee Warsdale, number 99, starting sixth. Dwayne MacArthur starting seventh in his number 97 race car. Al Turner, number 76, starting eighth. Jim Westerfield in the number 35 machine, starting ninth. Dakota Pischke in the number 1, starting 10th. Brian Lynch in the number 15 will be 11th on tonight's grid. Greg McDaniel in the number 30 machine, starting 12th out here today. Then we cycle it back to Dode Hoskins in the number 66 machine, starting 13th. Todd Bosworth in the number 42, starting 14th. We've got Gary Kipper in the 68, starting 15th. Randy Bott in the 69 machine, starting 16th on tonight's grid. Dean Gear in the number 92, starting 17th. Robert Crisco in the 28, starting 18th. Michael Titanium Everhart in the number 17 machine, starting 19th on today's grid. Scales in the number 8, starting 20th. Ken Huff in the 46 machine, starting 21st. Jess Vaught starting 22nd. Joey Buscemius in the rookie, the 128 machine, starting 23rd. Kelly Cool in the number 24 machine, excuse me, the 117, starting 24th.
Lap here, so you want to make sure
Henry Besaw, the number 26 machine, starting 25th. Brian Lindsay, the 24, starting 26th. Roger Runyon Sr., the number 71, starting 27th. And Lewis Albion, the 33 machine, starting 28th. We're going to take a quick moment, turn off that driver radio, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Like a flash, we are back as our drivers make ready to do battle. Again, if you're just turning in, we're going to have that tower on the left side of your screen here shortly, highlighting our chase drivers, who's in it to win it, and who's in the playoffs here today. As this is going to be a good one, 220 laps at Darlington. The lady in black, who's going to be leaving a little bit of race stripes all the way around this track. As the run progresses, who's going to put themselves in a better position for the chase playoff, and who's going to be going home early as the pace car comes in. And here we go. Green flag flies. It's Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson, the front row. The two teammates who are going to immediately go single file, accompanied by Patrick Milligan, Steve Thompson, Andrew Hess, our top 5 drivers. As it looks like almost the entirety of the field here is looking to be going single file almost immediately. You have to cycle back to, I believe that's Dean Gear in the number 92 machine. He's going side by side with Dode Hoskins. That's the battle for 14th. Now you may see some big moves early on. Look at that, he's going for it. But I think as the run progresses, everybody's going to be pretty happy running single file, not wanting to risk their machines this early in the run. As Ken Huff did have an incident, but he's able to return to pit lane very quickly to avoid bringing out the caution. It's mostly single file until you go right behind Andrew Hess. That was Al Turner looking for a line through. And look at this. Here come Lee Warsdale and Dwayne MacArthur. It's a battle of Canadians out on track. As Westerfield also looks to the inside line. Warsdale trying to get up. What happened here? Westerfield might have gotten loose coming out of turns 4, but he was able to hold on to it. That's going to cycle him back to 11th place. Dwayne MacArthur, he's side by side with another Canadian, Al Turner. MacArthur's going to be able to cut through, but it's Canadian guys going right now 6th through 8th with MacArthur, Turner, and Warsdale making some moves early on. Up front, Tom Ogle's got a fairly commanding lead on his teammate Josh Robinson. Robinson's accompanied by Milligan and Thompson. as well as Andrew Hess, who's looking to make a move against Thompson's number 67 machine. Not quite able to make it stick. Is going to have to think better of it. Now, these guys have got to be very, very patient. This is going to be a game of tire wear all day long. It's a long format race. They do not want to use up those tires prematurely and cause themselves to start cycling back as the run progresses. We've seen it with other broadcasts we've done here at Darlington. He who holds the first line has the advantage. Robert Crisco able to get around Scales. Behind Scales, you've got Bot, Vaught, and I believe Gear all battling for that 18th position. Again, the left side of your screen shows the current Chase competitors and where they're at on track. If they're highlighted in yellow, they are in the Chase Championship. And again, as this little short stint of Chase races continues, you'll be seeing a lot less yellow highlighted names as it progresses. Again, this week we're at Darlington for 220 laps. Next week we are at Richmond for 240 laps. And then we go to Bristol for 300 laps at the Coliseum, so guaranteed to be a great time. As Josh Robinson feeling a bit of pressure from Patrick Milligan here early on. We're only 7 laps into quite the long format race. We talked to some of our drivers before the broadcast, and they were a little bit apprehensive about having this long format race at such a difficult track. The estimated fuel window is anywhere between laps 65 to 73 at most. And every time there's a caution, I think you can bet on everyone coming down to pit lane to grab fresh tires, because tires are so important here. It'll be very interesting to see what the tire strategy is going to be for these competitors, on who's going to come in a little bit early and who's going to decide to stay out as long as they possibly can. Because, again, it's Tom Ogle out front. He's got about 0.6 of a second over his teammate Josh Robinson, who's got a whole lot of pressure from Patrick Milligan in third. Andrew Hess currently 4th on track. Steve the Mule Thompson in 5th. And then we cycle back to 6th place, where it's a freight train of our favorite friendly Canadians. It's MacArthur, Turner, and Warsdale. Not sure where all the Canadians found the speed here. Maybe a track they're very comfortable with, but so far the guys are doing great out there today. And we've seen this earlier on with other broadcasts. Keep an eye as the drivers come out of turns 4 later on the runs. We've seen drivers get kind of surprisingly loose there and tap that outside wall. And if they do, it's not very rare to see them slingshot across the racetrack into their competitors by accident. So that is something to keep an eye on as well. If we do have any spinouts, iRacing seems to not want to throw cautions as often at this track as what would be expected from all of our competitors. Everybody making it look easy. Everybody dropping in single file, not wanting to make any big moves here and risk using too much tires too early on. Again, it's going to be a game of patience for these drivers, having to stretch it out 65, 70 laps on a tank of gas. And as the run progresses, these cars are going to be almost unbearable to drive for some of these competitors as the wear really plays into effect. Look at this battle for third developing. That is going to be Milligan, Thompson, and Hess putting on a show. But my big question is, when these drivers are making these moves early on in the race, how much of that tire budget are they spinning up, burning through traffic, instead of thinking about the long run. Now, that being said, if you're out front, you really don't have much to worry about. You can set your own pace like Tom Ogle is doing, as well as Josh Robinson. Not really having to worry too much about what's going on behind you. As we've got some great racing going on for that 8th and 9th place mark. You're watching Jim Westerfield. He's trying to chase down Greg McDaniel, but he's getting a lot of pressure from Lee Warsdale as well, who has fallen back a few positions here. Now, Ogle's best lap time of the race was a 30.54. That last time by was a 31.21. So pretty much immediately these drivers are going to start feeling the effects of tire wear and having to really maintain their pace. And that's what the game is here for the OBRO races. Again, they're used to good green flag runs. It is not uncommon to have green flag races through and through. So it's a game of keeping that lap time the lowest over a long average, instead of going out setting some record-setting times and maybe using up too much tire too early on. Al Turner, the number 76 driver, having a bit of internet issues. Hopefully he gets it corrected so he can get back out there and start to battle. 28 drivers started here today. Right now, we still have 23 on the lead lap. I know Everhart, the number 17 machine, did have to serve a stop-and-go penalty, so he's going to be the lead car one lap down. Kelly Kuhl also had an issue. Brian Lindsay appears to have retired for the evening. Roger Runyon also appears to retire, while Ken Huff, the pilot of the number 46 machine, he's in pit lane getting some repairs done on his car. He had a bit of a moment early on, but was able to get back into pit lane to avoid bringing out the caution. So it's going to be interesting to see if old Titanium Everhart is able to catch up and get himself back on the lead lap with the rest of the chase drivers. We're going to cycle back to Andrew Hess, who's putting the pressure on Steve Thompson. Hess also has Dwayne MacArthur right behind him, so a lot of the usual suspects running around together. I'm not sure if we're going to see any big moves here early on in the race, especially this early in a fuel run as well. If I was a betting man, I would predict that they're going to run around single file for a little while unless somebody's egregiously off the pace. And right as we say that, Steve Thompson making a move around Patrick Milligan. Andrew Hess tries to follow as the caution comes out, as I believe that's going to be Randy Bott bringing out the incident for the very first time here today. We're going to take a look at our Metro Ford sponsored instant replay. A watch Bott in the number 69 machine. Let's see what happens. Ooh, he gets across track and absolutely drills the 118. We talked about that early in the broadcast. Coming out of turn 4 can be a little bit exciting for these drivers. And we're going to take another look at that once more and see what just happened. But it looked to me like he tagged that outside wall and then got careened across the racetrack. Yes, he bumped across it, just collects the 118. That was the rookie Jess Vaught. Just having a bit of bad luck. Can't blame the triple-digit driver at all there. And then somebody else, that's going to be Henry Beesall, that took a little bit of damage on the front of his machine. And that will bring out our first caution here of the night, as I believe everyone's going to come down to pit road and grab some tires. Nobody wants to be the guy stuck out there on an older machine, as Tom Ogle will lead the charge into pit lane again for the first time here today for the E-Metro Ford Chase Playoffs. Looks like everyone able to get through pit lane without any incident. Everybody able to grab 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. Al Turner appears that he was in pit lane for a long time, as well as Patrick Milligan. Milligan having some sort of problems, may have got a penalty somehow, as there's several drivers in pit lane for a long time. Milligan, Gear, Crisco, Scales. What happened to Patrick Milligan, the number 18 machine? Milligan's going to come back out on track, down 14 positions. Dean Gear also appears to have a penalty, as well as Henry B. Saw, Robert Crisco. Where did that happen out on track? We're going to get ready to re-rack them, send them back out. But man, not the night we expected here today. Some good drivers getting tossed around in the running order very early on. So on this restart, it's going to be Ogle, Robinson, Hess, Thompson, McDaniel, MacArthur, Westerfield, Pischke, Hoskins, and Warsdell, your top 10 drivers. As Michael Titanium Everhart, the number 17 driver, was able to get the lucky dog position and get back on the lead lap. As we get our drivers stacked up 2 rows wide and about, we'll call it about 15 rows deep. Still have 24 drivers out on track. 25, I believe, as Ken Huff was able to return back onto the racetrack after an 11-minute, almost a 12-minute pit stop, getting some repairs done on his machine. Pace car is in, and here we go. It's Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson still on the front row. And the lights go, the green flag waves. Here we go for the first restart of our Darlington round of the Chase playoffs. Teammates Robinson and Ogle getting in line very, very quickly, but Andrew Hess wants to interject himself in the party early on while he still has the traction to do so. As you're on board the number 54 machine, he's up 2 spots already tonight, and it looks like he was maybe thinking about going to the inside of Robinson, maybe thought better of it here. He's going to try and get a good drive out of turn 4. Again, we've touched on it, and we've seen it strike. If you get a little bit loose coming out of 4 later on the run, that wall kind of sneaks up on you. It can cause all sorts of heartbreak here at the start-finish line straight of Darlington. As Hess is doing a little bit of driving, trying to catch Josh Robinson and maybe interject himself between the 2 Team Miata drivers. As someone to keep an eye on as well, we're going to check on Patrick Milligan, the number 18 machine. We're expecting him to absolutely come blitzing through traffic after what was believed a speeding penalty on pit road. So Milligan is going to drive like a man possessed here at Darlington to cut back through the field and get himself back into a further points position. Again, right now it is 16 drivers in the chase. Then we're going to whittle it down to 12 drivers after these 3 opening rounds. So everybody doesn't have a lot of time for throwaways or gimmies. You want to get out front as quickly as you can as you're watching Steve Thompson trying to catch Andrew Hess, Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle, your top 3 drivers, because Thompson's got a whole lot of company in the likes of Greg McDaniel. McDaniel currently 5th on track in his number 30 Chevrolet. He's up 7 spots so far. And charging very hard out here today. Everybody within the top 10 running single file, willing to burn off some fuel. Now again, if we're doing our math right, they should not have to come into around lap 100 if they keep to their current pit strategy. You may see some drivers open up their pit window around the lap 75 mark, valuing tires more than track position in these long runs. I don't think going through tires is going to be a concern for anybody, as they're going to use every possible set that they are allocated over the course of this 220 lap race. For the most part, everybody playing nicely, not having any big incidents on track. I believe Dean Gear is involved in a battle back there as he gets cycled back 1 spot. Henry Besaw picks up 17th position. Henry has worked his way up 8 spots so far here today, so not a bad run from the number 26 driver. As now he's going to try and work on Robert Crisco as well as Al Turner to grab a couple of more spots. Crisco with the easy to spot Crisco painted Ford Mustang. Look at this, Patrick Milligan's already worked his way back up to 13th. He is driving the wheels off that E-Metro Ford sponsored Ford Mustang, trying to catch up to Lee Warsdale and maybe pick up his draft to interject himself back with about the top 10 drivers that are running around together out on track. Steve Thompson has caught the rear bumper of Andrew Hess. Not sure, again, I'm not sure if we're going to see any moves here until we get later on the race, or once they have fresh tires. Once they get back out on track and they start to put some wear on those tires, it really takes away the opportunities you have to make any big moves out here. The cars tighten up, it's a lot tougher to dive in that inside line, and next thing you know, you can find yourself touching that outside wall, as we saw happen early on in tonight's race, and that can quickly ruin both your race as well as your Chase Championship chances. Looks to be that everybody's running single file here, and I believe that's going to be about the top 8. But here we go. There's another caution as the leaders have to swerve everywhere. It's Kelly Cool involved. Oh, no. Who else was involved with that one? That could have tagged some of the leaders. Let's see what happens here to Cool, the rookie in the 117 machine. As he comes out of, I believe that's turn 2, tags that outside wall. We've been telling that story all night long, as it doesn't take much, and careens back into the racetrack. But look at this. Here's where things are going to get very exciting, as Cool is in a dangerous spot here out on track. We're going to drop it down to the super slow-mo, sponsored by E-Metro Ford, as everyone's going to try and dodge through here. Oh my goodness. The 35 machine, nowhere to go. That's Jim Westerfield, absolutely plows into Cool's 117 machine. And there is going to be some words exchanged here today, as Dode Hoskins, he dives his way around as well as Cool locks up the brakes. But man, What a hard hit for both Kelly Cool and Jim Westerfield. As the field once again comes down pit lane for our second time here today. I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen, I did not expect this much excitement in today's race for drivers that normally have it completely under control and are able to get out there and just click off laps and make it easy. Some of these guys are having a rough night here today. As why we're under caution. We're going to watch that crash back once more because as bad as it went, that could have been way, way worse for all of our competitors. Just okay, it's Kelly Cool, number 117 machine, just gets a little bit loose, I think, coming out of turns 2 and hits that outside wall, gets careened to the inside wall. But look at this. As Jim Westerfield doesn't have anywhere to go, the race leaders come blitzing around. And a spectacular impact between the 117 and the 35 machine. It appears all of our chase competitors have survived thus far, as the top 11 are all chase drivers. Again, if you're just tuning in the left side of your screen, those highlighted in yellow are chase drivers, as well as those, another visual indicator is the front windshield banner of these drivers. As you can see, Ogle, Robinson, McDaniel, Thompson all have the yellow banner on their race cars here today. But we are at our second caution, not even 40 laps in today. And man, this is going to be a rough one for some of our drivers. We're going to get ready to re-rack them 2 wide and still about 15 rows deep. Most drivers have been able to get through here nice and clean. We've got 21 drivers still on the lead lap. Pace car is in. Here we go. It's still Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson on the front row. The 2 teammates, accompanied by Greg McDaniel, Andrew Hess, the second row, Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson, your third row. And away we go. These guys are getting a little bit more restart practice than they would have liked here today, as everyone's trying to shuffle around and try and see where they're going to land at. It's Ogle Robinson out front, Andrew Hess. He has accompanied by Greg McDaniel, number 30 machine. Again, it is all chase drivers in the top 10 here today. As Hoskins was having a little bit of company from Dakota Pischke, able to keep it going in the right direction, not having any woes or issues. As it is about 6 drivers in the lead pack. Tom Ogle, Robinson, Hess, McDaniel, Thompson, MacArthur. You have to go about 1 second back to Dode Hoskins, number 66 machine. But look at this, Patrick Milligan is trying to make something happen again as he goes to the inside of Pischke. He makes it stick. Now he's going to try and work on Hoskins. Milligan, with that early pit lane penalty, is able to get back out there and charge hard through the field. He's going to try and work on Hoskins and make quick work of the driver, number 66. It's 2 Ford drivers about to go into battle. And look at this, here comes Milligan on the inside of the start-finish line, able to make it nice and easy through Hoskins, not having any issues. So Milligan has worked his way all the way back up to 7th place. He's about 1.15 seconds behind Dwayne MacArthur, and MacArthur signifies the caboose of that lead pack of drivers. Milligan, he's got it down to 1 second difference between himself and Dwayne MacArthur. He's quickly able to get his way back up. That is extremely impressive of the driver, the number 18 machine, to get back in the mix and hopefully salvage some points here today. Again, it's only 3 rounds before we drop down to 12 drivers in the Chase playoff, so not a lot of time to have a throwaway race, because then you're at the mercy of your competitors. Ideally, you want to get out there early on, score the top 12 in the first 2 rounds if able to, and that will really help you breathe later on in the championship. Feeling a little bit safer as things go on. Up front, it is still Tom Ogle, Josh Robinson, the 2 teammates, followed by Andrew Hess. Hess is up 2 spots. Greg McDaniel currently 4th on track. He's up 8 spots so far here today, so well done to Hess. Figuring something out. Current hard charger on track, though, has got to be Lewis Albee, the driver of the number 33 Ford Mustang. He has worked his way up 10 positions so far here today, and not having too bad of a night, able to make it look easy. Still keeping his head down and making it look easy. Joey Buscemi, the number 128 driver, one of the rookies out here today. He's worked his way up 9 positions. And good to see the triple digits out here having fun and showing they've got what it takes to run nice and clean. We're going to cycle it back to Steve Thompson, currently 5th on track. He's with this lead pack of drivers. Dwayne MacArthur, it seems that he's lagged out just a little bit, and that's allowed Patrick Milligan to catch up to this lead pack of drivers. So you have 7 drivers in the lead pack. You have to go back about 3 seconds to Dakota Pischke, who's leading the 2nd pack of cars. Looks like everyone's taking it nice and easy, not making any big moves here in the top 6. Patrick Milligan has worked his way to the lead pack. He's right behind Dwayne MacArthur, our favorite fast Canadian, in the number 97 machine. Now, are we going to see Milligan trying to make any more moves here, or is he going to wait for the next fuel window to open? All these drivers came in on lap 36. You'll see the pit window open up anywhere between lap 93 to 110, depending on what strategy these guys are on. Or they may be banking on a caution night, as we've seen an uncharacteristic amount of cautions here so far. Pischke has able to break away from Hoskins' number 66 machine. Hoskins is chased by Gary Kipfer, Brian Lynch, and Lee Wardsdale. In this pack of drivers, but great to see Hoskins. He's up 4 positions so far in his number 66 machine, and it's been very cool for me to see as a broadcaster how much some of these drivers have grown in their ability throughout the season. Some guys that have normally been happy with a top 10, or excuse me, a top 20, maybe a top 15, have been working their way up position by position each and every week and getting a little bit more comfortable with the cars, their own abilities, as well as their drivers around them. So Really a unique experience, a very cool experience to see these drivers develop all season long. It's been an absolute pleasure broadcasting all of their events. As we cover the Metro Ford Cup Series every Sunday morning. As always, check them out, emetroford.com. They've got the most amount of trucks in the country, and Patrick Milligan can get you financed. They've got, again, a huge selection, great financing department, and top-notch customer support. Check them out, emetroford.com, the title sponsor of the Old Bastards Racing League Sunday Morning Cup Series. Looks like Dwayne MacArthur is about to have some company here from Patrick Milligan. Milligan looks like he's hinting at wanting to work his way up the pack here. But that's going to be very, very difficult to do with how single file all these drivers are. If you break out of the line at all and get into single file, looks like Milligan's dropped back by about a half second behind Dwayne MacArthur. I'm interested to see if maybe he burned up a little bit too much tires having to charge through the field here. He's been kind of having to do that all night long, really. Up front, it's still Ogle, Robinson, Hess, your top three drivers. I'm interested to see if maybe we've worked out some of the cautions for the day as Gary Kipper moves up another spot in the number 68 machine, edging out Dode Hoskins. And look at that, is the top 11 are all Chase drivers. $20 drivers still on the lead lap here today. With 23 drivers out of 28 still out on track running. Some guys had a whole lot of bad luck early on, but are able to capitalize and try and stay out there. Check out one of our favorite drivers, Michael Everhart. The number 17 machine is out there doing a great job. Everhart with Throwback Racing. He's one of our Chase drivers. He's down one spot from where he started here tonight. Currently 17th on track as he gets through lap traffic. Robert Crisco. Everhart did have that penalty. He had to serve here today, an opening EOL, as well as a stop and go under green, or possibly a drive-through, which can really hurt your overall chances. But keep an eye on Everhart. He's one of those guys we've talked about this season that has been getting more and more consistent as the runs progress, and has really found his niche on good green flag runs as he's getting ready to chase down Henry Besaw as well as Chris Scales to work his way back up a few positions here. Besaw hops out of line and allows Everhart through, so keep an eye on the number 17 machine, Old Titanium as we call him, who's been getting better and better as this season runs on, and it's a lot of fun watching him race. Not much has changed with our top 7 drivers, except Patrick Milligan seems to have fallen off the pace a little bit, has lost the draft possibly of Dwayne MacArthur. He's now about 0.8 of a second back from the Fast Canadian, the number 97 machine out on track. For those watching along at home, we added a poll. Let us know in the chat if you think, or the poll, if we're going to go green for the rest of the way, or if the caution is going to rear its ugly head once more. As now we're watching Steve Thompson trying to work on Greg McDaniel. He sees Dwayne MacArthur behind him and knows, I do not want to lose any pace here. We need to get this party going and project ourselves out front as quickly as we can. We get a little bit of a hiccup here trying to outpush all this data. 1080p, 60 frames a second can really slow down the old bandwidth at times. All of our drivers doing a great job out here today, not having any issues for the most part later on in the run. They're able to keep it nice and clean and keep moving forward. Are we going to see Steve Thompson trying to make a move on Greg McDaniel, or is McDaniel going to pick up the pace just a little bit here? As all of our guys doing a great job out on track, especially our leaders. Everybody seems to be running single file, not having any big issues. And everybody's got about two and a half car lengths between them. Playing it nice and safe. We're about a little over a quarter of the way through tonight's main event. It's going to be interesting to see, can we stay green all the way through here, or are we going to have some cautions to interject the party here for the chase opening round? As look at this, here comes Steve Thompson. He's taking a look to the inside of Greg McDaniel, not able to make anything of it. But Thompson is showing that he wants to get up there. McDaniel goes high. He might have tagged the wall there. That allows Thompson and MacArthur to get through nice and clean. As poor McDaniel's going to lose 2 spots at once, and now he's got the likes of Patrick Milligan, who's going to be pressuring the number 30 machine quite hard. A little bit further back, Dakota Pischke, he gets passed by Gary Kipfer as well. So good to see Kipfer up here in the top 10. He's up 7 spots so far tonight. And just again, overall impressed with all the drivers that are able to get a little bit faster as the run progresses, as the season progresses, and make a good name for themselves. As the votes are starting to swing in the way of, we are expecting another caution from our fans out there today. And again, thank you to all of our fans, friends, and family that tune in each and every week, supporting your favorite drivers at your favorite league. Would dare say, even your favorite broadcaster. So we couldn't do it without you guys. We know all of our drivers always go back and watch these broadcasts, and they are very appreciative of all the kind words they receive from their fans and friends from across the world. And we truly couldn't do it without you guys. And the chat was right as the caution comes out once more on lap 68. I believe it's going to be Kelly Cool. Let's grab the replay and see what happens here. Cool, the number 117 machine. We saw him involved in an incident early on where he tagged that outside wall. But what happens? Is he the instigator, or is he an innocent victim here? As no, it is almost identical to the crash that happened earlier. Going wide, tagging that outside wall at the Boeing backstretch. As everybody once again able to get through nice and easy. And I believe Cool will take a fast travel back to the pit lane. And he will most likely be done for the evening as the entire field comes into pit lane. We'll take a look at our current chase drivers and how they are doing out on track. So everybody's going to come in, take 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas. Joey Buscemi's scales staying out a little bit longer and coming a little bit later to try and get themselves back on the lead lap. That's going to allow Josh Robinson to be your race leader this time by, getting in and out of pit lane just a little bit quicker than Tom Ogle. And that will be the 3rd caution of the night, 70 laps in. These guys are going to have quite the long day ahead of them if this is going to be the running average for all of our competitors. Here we go once more. It's Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle perfecting their launches here today. Steve Thompson's moved his way back up into 3rd in the number 67 machine. He's going to be chased by Andrew Hess, Dwayne MacArthur, and Patrick Milligan. I've got to say I'm a little surprised at the lack of green flag runs we've been able to get here today. I know Darlington is a tough track, but these guys are going to have a long, long day if we keep punctuating these runs with caution. We'll be averaging about 30 laps before the caution flag comes out. As it's still Robinson, Ogle, Thompson, Hess, MacArthur, your top 5, all running single file, not wanting to press the issue too early on here. It'll be interesting to see if anything changes up here in the early laps. It seems when drivers are going to make moves, they do so fairly early on, as 12 of our chase drivers are in the top 12. As you see on the left side of your screen, we've got Everhart and Scales that are just outside that pack of drivers, rounding out the field here for the chase drivers, but they've got a long way to go. We're not even at the halfway mark tonight. And I think at this point, all the chase drivers just want to survive, not to find themselves involved with any possible incidents. as it looks like the field's getting stacked up just a little bit. Andrew Hess looking like he wants to get around Steve Thompson. And Dwayne MacArthur also looks like he wants to charge around here. Now these guys only have so many good clean laps to try and pressure through the field before the tire fall off really becomes a factor. Not wanting to use up that tire too early on into a run, because then you can find yourself in big trouble. Trying to get things dialed in as well with our internet connection issue. Not quite sure what's going on there tonight. As we are battling up here in the broadcast booth just as much as our drivers are on track. Trying to get that corrected for all of our fans at home. You're on board with Andrew Hess trying to charge his way up to the field, but here comes Dwayne MacArthur with a gutsy move to the inside line, able to make it stick. MacArthur not taking any time to try and make those moves happen. He wants to get up there, and he wants to do so very quickly. All these drivers doing a great job, not really having any problems here so far today, and making it look pretty easy here. Gonna be interesting to see, does Hess answer and try and respond back to MacArthur, or is he gonna be happy following a line behind somebody that's known to run out front? Maybe pick up some tips from the driver and see if he can learn anything. Or is he going to use this opportunity to try and propel himself back forward? As here comes Patrick Milligan as well, wanting to get in the mix here. Milligan, he's been working his way up every single restart. As we are doing our best here in the broadcast booth to get that internet connection issue fixed here for you, get back to the action, because it is some really great racing from all of our competitors. We don't want anybody at home to miss anything, because these guys put on a show showing us they're some of the best in the business. As Patrick Milligan, he's getting a little bit of company as well from Greg McDaniel. It looked like Milligan was about to make a move on Andrew Hess, but not quite able to make it happen. As 11 of our chase drivers are in the top 11. So if there are any incidents up here among our leaders, that will spell disaster for pretty much everyone involved, because there's not a lot of way through here. If there is an incident when the field is this stacked, any incident up front will involve one, if not many, of our chase competitors. And we saw that earlier on where lap traffic went for a careening ride, but it was able to hold on to it. As again, you're watching Patrick Milligan work his way up towards the front after an early speeding penalty on pit road that really affected his evening, but he's trying to capitalize on it to get back out front and make something happen. You're on board with Patrick Milligan, letting the engine sing on that. Milligan doing a great job. I mean, despite having a rough go early on, he's able to capitalize and get back out front. That is what is a testament that it takes to be a consistent chase finisher and possible championship for the Old Bastards Racing League. But what was that? Was that a car we saw on the inside line? Or is that possibly just the start-finish line straight here at Darlington? Usually has that big winner's circle area reserved for our champions. Currently watching Steve Thompson running third on track. This is exactly where he started. Now he's behind two teammates, though, of Robinson and Tom Ogle. The last time these guys came in was on lap 68, so it's going to be quite a while before they do a planned green flag stop. Now, we have seen a few cautions here today that really mixed things up in a race that was expected to run pretty green and clean the entire time. I think the earliest you may see a driver come in is around lap 125. As you can see, the damage on the front right of Steve Thompson involved in his own incident here today. The front right of his Toyota Camry just a little bit crinkled up. So hopefully Thompson can avoid any more issues and stay out there and try and catch up to Josh Robinson and Tom Ogle. Behind Thompson, you've got Dwayne MacArthur fourth and Andrew Hess rounding out our top five here today. Everybody's just taking it nice and easy, single file, not seeing any big moves from anybody out on track, not wanting to risk anything this late in a run. And this is the thing where drivers get a little bit more careful as the run progresses as well, not wanting to get involved with any incidents, especially this late in a race. You put in so much work throughout the season, throughout the night for testing, or through the week, I should say, and then you can find yourself involved in a big incident. So it's interesting to watch the guys try and avoid anything going on out here. Especially these green flag runs. Again, you really don't want to make any mistakes. So I think that's what we're going to see here is drivers clicking off single file, not having any big issues, and just try and see where everything might shuffle down to. As it is still 12 drivers in the chase running first through 12th. That means it's going to be Lynch and Everhart on the bubble for the chase run. Now, Josh Robinson currently out front. He has won 19% of the races that he has entered so far in the regular season, so he's definitely no familiar to running up front. Out of 26 starts, he's had 5 wins, 4 poles, 17 top 5s throughout the race. His average incident per race, 1.385. So Robinson has always been fast all season long and very consistent. But now he's going to catch up onto lap traffic for the first time in mass for this Darlington race. Again, it is 220 laps here at Darlington. The Lady in Black, a very tricky track to tame. Say that 5 times fast, ladies and gentlemen. So it's going to be interesting to see as Robinson will be the first driver to navigate lap traffic as he should be catching them the next probably 2 to 3 laps, I believe, doing a little bit of guesswork up here in the booth. Looks like Robinson getting a little bit of a breakaway. That's going to allow Steve Thompson to get right on the back bumper of Tom Ogle's number 11 Toyota Camry. I'm not sure if Ogle has fallen off the pace due to tire wear, driver attrition, or too many White Claws, as that is the title sponsor of the number 11 car. And that's allowed Steve Thompson, Dwayne MacArthur, Andrew Hess to catch up and start to stack up just a little bit of an accordion effect here today. We're going to post up another poll for our viewers at home. Let us know who you're thinking is going to win the opening chase round for the Old Bastards Racing League Metro Ford Cup Series. We put it between Robinson. We've got Ogle in the mix. We've got Thompson. And if you're thinking somebody else, let us know, because there's a lot of drivers that have the opportunity. I mean, all these guys have been fast all season long. As, man, look at the breakaway that Josh Robinson is having right now. He's 1.4 seconds ahead over the rest of the field. He is putting on a lot of time here over Tom Ogle, so I'm not sure if Robinson's finding more pace or maybe Ogle is starting to fall off, as it is Ogle, Thompson, MacArthur, and Hess, your top 5 drivers running in a pack, trying to chase up to Josh Robinson, who has found a whole lot of speed almost out of nowhere here today. Robinson, the first driver again, that's going to be cutting through lap traffic, as he's getting very, very close to it up front. And he's extended that gap to 1.677 over second place Tom Ogle, almost a 1.7 second gap. I am very surprised at the speed he has found here. He has gotten rapidly faster, right about 0.2 faster than his teammate Tom Ogle the last couple of laps by. And no sign of slowing down either. Now, I'll be very excited if we do see some green flag pit strategies start to develop here today. It's one of my favorite things to see as a broadcaster, as these drivers are able to showcase their ability both on and off the track, as well as their racing smarts, I guess is a good way to describe it. As here comes Robinson having to cut through traffic for the first time. That is going to be the 118 of Jess Vaught. And oh man, he's going to have to cut through a lot of traffic here. Robinson plays it safe, thinks better of it, especially with how tight that car is. Now, we talked about it. It looks easy to do, to try and get down the apron and make a pass, but if you are down there in no man's land, it is dusty. There is the rubber marbles all over across the racetrack. And there is very little banging, so very easy to lose car control here at Darlington. If you drop down too far inside, it can spell disaster very quickly. Robinson cutting through traffic. Everybody here at the OBRL Series, really all the races they run throughout the week, everybody's very polite and just all-around good guys. One of the coolest leagues that we broadcast for. They run ARCA cars, they run trucks, they run Xfinity, and then they run the Premier Metro Ford Cup Series all throughout the week. So even when these guys aren't racing 4 nights a week, they are online together, clicking off practice laps, working on their racecraft together, and just all around trying to improve the talent of everybody involved. Everyone working together to get faster and faster as the races progress. we get closer to the halfway mark, Josh Robinson's making it look easy. He's still got about a 1.2 second gap over Ogle. Now he did have to slow down a little bit, having to contend with that lap traffic, but didn't have any too big close moments there. Everybody very respectful, hopping out of the way as quickly as they possibly can, and doing their best to avoid interjecting themselves with the race leaders. Nobody wants to be the guy that gets tied up with a race leader and possibly ruins somebody's chase championship. Because again, the top 12 drivers out on track right now are all in the chase together. Robinson clicking him off, making it look easy, not having any big moments out on track, which is great to see from the driver. Now again, he came in last time by around lap 68. So the earliest we may see him come in is around lap about 123, 125. But he may be able to stretch it out all the way to the lap 140 mark. It's going to be interesting to see what the strategy and the play is for all these competitors. Seeing what's more important, staying out front or trying to keep that average lap time as low as they possibly can over the course of the race. As now Robinson's going to get around Robert Crisco, I believe that is going to be just getting ready to go another lap down. Yes, that is Crisco, the number 28 driver. He will make way for Josh Robinson's number 23 machine to come through at his earliest possible moment. And just like that, he dives to the inside, allowing Robinson through nice and easy at the start-finish line straight. Well done. Again, nothing but professionalism among all the competitors here today. And there's a lot of great guys to race with and a whole lot of fun. As it stands, it's Josh Robinson, Tom Ogle, Steve Thompson, Dwayne MacArthur, Andrew Hess, rounding out our top 5 today, as Ken Huff and Dean Gear both coming into pit lane for a pit stop to try and get some work done on their cars and get some 4 fresh tires underneath them, going for a bit of an undercut compared to the rest of the field. But how long is Josh Robinson going to stay out for? Because every lap he's out there, he's extending his lead over the likes of Ogle, Thompson, MacArthur, Hess, Milligan, Kipfer, really just the entire field at this point. Robinson has found something that's working well for him, as he's been consistently about 1/10 of a lap faster than the rest of his competition, and not really showing any signs of slowing down here. As we are at the halfway mark for tonight's race, we have made it this far with a few cautions but no major incidents among our chase competitors. Right now it's Chris Scales having probably the roughest night out of all of our competition. He's been in pit lane for about 2 minutes and 20 seconds, getting some repairs done on the number 8, trying to get it hammered back into shape and go back out there and see if he can salvage his night. But everyone else in the chase is currently within the top 14 drivers, with the top, I believe it's 12 drivers. Yes, all within the chase playoff, so everybody's looking pretty good. Right now it is Lynch, Brian Lynch, number 15 machine, that is on the bubble for our chase drivers, as he is following Dode Hoskins. Again, it's going to be the top 12 drivers at the end of this chase playoff opening 3 rounds that move to the next stage here. So everybody's trying to get out there early on to make some moves and try and salvage the race if they can. Every night that they have that's outside the top 12, that leaves it in the hands of another driver's mistakes to put yourself back in the championship. So ideally, you're going to have guys run as hard as they possibly can for each and every round, and that way it's at their own ability at the end of the day and not a gamble on what's going to happen. As we are past the halfway, it's looking like we may finally see some green flag pit stops. When are we going to see Robinson, the lead racer in the number 23 machine, opt to come down pit lane for his 4 fresh Goodyears and a tank of gas? Or is he going to stay out for as long as he possibly can and keep extending that lead that he has over Tom Ogle? As of right now, he is about 2/10 to 3/10 a lap faster than everybody else on track. And he's extended his lead to about 3.2 seconds over his teammate and team captain Tom Ogle in the number 11 Toyota Camry. So Robinson feeling very comfortable out front right now, not having too many woes. It'll be interesting to see if anybody else towards the back has to change up their strategy to make something happen. As now we're watching Tom Ogle, number 11 Team Miata driver. He's chased by Steve Thompson as well as Dwayne MacArthur. Behind Ogle, you've got Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson. MacArthur was able to get around Thompson that last lap, pick up another position. Right now, MacArthur, he's up 4 spots so far here tonight from where he originally started in 7th, who's still charging hard. Again, our favorite fast Canadian out on track, making big moves. And when are we going to see everybody starting to come into pit lane is going to be the big question of the night. And is anyone going to have any incidents on pit lane that could ruin their evening? Again, we're expecting the fuel window to open in the next 6 to 8 laps for some of the drivers, and we'll finally see what the strategy may be for our competition. MacArthur's last time by a 32.18 compared to Thompson, who clicked off a 32.28. So I think this is going to be the point in the run where we start to see who's been able to keep a little bit of tires underneath them. We're over 50 laps, 60 laps. No, excuse me, 50 laps. I'm right. On a set of tires here at Darlington. That is a long time to go. As the tire wear is going to start rapidly falling off of these drivers. They are over 2 seconds slower than their fastest laps of the race. As now MacArthur has found some speed, and he's going to work on Tom Ogle's number 11 machine. Here comes MacArthur to take over 2nd place, as he's got a big run, but he will not be able to make it stick on the backstretch. As no, Tom Ogle is going to dive into pit lane. So is MacArthur with a late commitment. And these drivers are going to bring it on to pit lane. It is Robinson, Ogle, MacArthur, Thompson, Milligan, McDaniel all coming down pit lane. Now, are we going to see any penalties here? Because that's been kind of a deciding factor. So all these guys bring it a little bit earlier than we thought we were going to see. About 50 laps is all they really want to do on a set of tires. And no one wants to get caught out behind Josh Robinson on an older set because Robinson has been so incredibly fast. Robinson leaves pit lane. So Andrew Hess is going to be your current race leader, the number 54 machine, putting a large portion of the field 1 lap down. Now this is where you do not want to see a caution come out if you are a competitor out on track, because if you find yourself a lap down, you are in big, big trouble. So how long is Hess going to stay out for? Pischke, Everhart, Bosworth also staying out here today. Did not see any signs of pit road penalties either, so everybody's able to get in and out nice and easy, not having too many big moments here. Andrew Hess still staying out. I'm a little bit surprised, but he's got his own strategy, and he's going to stick with it, I suppose. Last time he came in was on lap 68, so he's out there charging hard. He's been out there almost 60 laps so far on a set of tires. Now again, we think he can stretch it out to about 65 to 70 laps is what we're estimating up here in the booth. As it is now Hess, Pischke, and Everhart, your top three who have not come in yet. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out for our competitors. As Hess may have wanted to pit there, but unable to, as other drivers cutting through, trying to get their lap back. Michael Everhart, Titanium, the number 17 machine, he comes in that last lap for his one pit stop. So now it is just Hess and Pischke that are staying out, but keep an eye on Dwayne MacArthur. He clicked off the fastest lap of the race with a 30.34. MacArthur is currently 5th on track, 1 lap down. As now Hess will come into pit lane. Or we can see Pischke follow in suit in the number 1 machine. And the answer appears to be no. Dakota is going to stay out one more time. And man, you can really tell how tight that car is as it really wants to push wide in between turns 3 and 4. So Pischke will get a lap led here at Darlington on the lap 126 mark as the caution comes out. Oh, this is going to change absolutely everything here today. Brian Lynch involved in a caution. We're only going to have 7 of the lead drivers on the lead lap. Oh no, what happened here? As we're going to take a look at Brian Lynch and see what happens. Lynch in the number 15 machine, Hooters machine. Let's see what happens to Lynch. As the number 33 machine gives a bit of a wiggle. That was Lewis Albee. And oh no, Lynch with a hard hit to the inside wall. Everyone else scatters out of the way, not trying to get collected here. Oh no, who is that? That was the number 96, I think. Or was it Lee Warsdale? I don't know who that was. We're going to watch that one once more from a different camera angle and a little bit slower angle. But oh no. So you're watching Brian Lynch and the number 15 machine and the 33 of Lewis Albee. They briefly go side by side, and it looks like Albee may have swerved and overcorrected up the racetrack aggressively, tail whipping into Lynch. And that will send both competitors careening across the racetrack. Oh man, what a hit. Gets pogoed back into the middle of the racing surface. And then somebody, I can't tell who it was. That was the number 46 machine of Ken Huff. Nowhere to really go, and he gets collected as well. And man, not what you want to see out of all of our guys here today. Now, Josh Robinson, Patrick Milligan, Andrew Hess opting to stay out. Hess has not come in since lap 68, so that's an odd call from the number 54 machine. As that is our 4th caution of the night. As we're going to get ready to re-rack him, I'll be right back and take a quick break, grab some water, but don't go anywhere as the action keeps getting heated up here at Darlington. As we get back to the action, we're going to go 2 wide and a whole lot of rows deep. It's only 10 drivers on the lead lap now after that surprise caution. It's Josh Robinson and Patrick Milligan on the front row. Now these two drivers are on about 8-lap older tires than their competitors around them, so it's going to be interesting how that affects them in the long run here. As they are quickly off to battle. Dwayne MacArthur moving his way up into second. Steve Thompson trying to make moves as well. Thompson trying to edge out Dakota Pischke. All these drivers except for Robinson and Milligan are on the same tire strategy here today. Everybody coming in on lap 127 to take 4 fresh Goodyears and a full tank of gas. But as a reminder, Thompson does have a little bit of damage to the front of his number 67 machine. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects him in the long run here today at Darlington. Everybody doing a fantastic job out here today, not having big issues on this restart as Thompson has comfortably worked his way up into third behind Dwayne MacArthur. And Thompson's actually just clicked off the fastest lap of the race with a 30.18. So still finding a good amount of speed here, and now he's going to try and catch up to Dwayne MacArthur, who wants to push his way up to the front. Again, MacArthur and Thompson, they're on 8-lap newer tires than your race leader Josh Robinson, who opted to stay out for track position. Going to be interesting to see how that strategy plays off if we do get a green flag pit stop, which has not been the norm here today. We've seen, I believe, 1 green flag stop out of several cautions. As Dwayne MacArthur pressuring Robinson heavily, trying to take over that race lead here, but he's got to be careful not to burn up too much tires in the process, because as the runs start to get a little bit longer here, it is very easy to burn up those tires prematurely and find yourself falling towards the back at the end of a run. Andrew Hess also clicks off a blistering lap time. Hess, number 54 machine, ranked 7th on track. He clicked off a 30.17 his last time by. Dwayne MacArthur staying glued to the rear bumper of the number 23 machine. It's crazy to see how much pace Robinson's able to carry still with 8-lap older tires in the competition. As we've seen, Robinson, when left to his own devices, has been able to get out front and peel away from the rest of the pack. I think the only deciding factor now is going to be how the different tire strategy really affects our drivers out front. As it is Robinson, MacArthur, Thompson, Pischke, Milligan, Ogle, Hess, Kipper, McDaniel, and Turner making up our top 10. And again, it is only the top 10 on the lead lap, as some guys kind of lost the lottery there with that caution with those green flag stops. Some drivers were able to get a little bit lucky, and some guys had not quite as much luck as they would have wanted. Dwayne MacArthur looks into the inside of Robinson once more. Not quite able to make a run at it. And every time he takes one of those jabs or maybe even a feint against Robinson, it's going to slow down his run just ever so slightly. And it can take a half lap to a lap to get yourself back up in the mix to try and make another shot at it. As if you look just a little bit further back, look at this. Josh Robinson's going to get passed by Dwayne MacArthur. MacArthur goes the outside line, able to make it happen. Now Steve Thompson's going to try and capitalize as well. Both of these drivers with 8-lap newer tires than Robinson, making their way up, as Dakota Pischke for a while was also taking a shot at Thompson. So things shaking up a little bit here in the top 3 as MacArthur's going to get some laps led for the very first time tonight. It'll be interesting to see if Thompson's able to capitalize as well on the fresher set of tires that he has over Robinson. But MacArthur, the fast Canadian out front, and making it look pretty easy so far. We're going to cycle a little bit further back to, again, Steve Thompson to see if and when he's going to try and get around Josh Robinson. We saw MacArthur take his time to develop that pass, not wanting to risk anything this late in the run. We've got about 80 laps left in tonight's main event. So we're expecting at least one more stop, and historically about one more caution from our competitors, as tonight has been a bit of a rough one compared to what the drivers have been used to in the past. Now MacArthur, he's been fast all season long, but hasn't had the wins that he really wanted. Out of 26 starts, 17 of those he found himself in the top 5. And out of, again, 26 starts, it was 23 races he was in the top 10. So no stranger to running out front with an average finish of about 5th place. It'll be interesting to see if MacArthur can pull home another win and increase his 11.5% win ratio that he's had during the regular season. MacArthur, again, one of the cleanest racers, that we broadcast. He averages less than 1 incident point per race every time he's out on track. And that's kind of a common theme among the top 5 drivers, the top 10, really the top 15 drivers for the Old Bastard Racing League, is a lot of very clean racers not having any problems out there, and shows that consistency is what wins championship. As now MacArthur, with some clean track, has extended his lead to about 1.3 seconds over Robinson, as Thompson looks to the inside line of Robinson, trying to make a move through to see if he can catch back up to the number 97 machine of MacArthur, as it appears that Robinson may be slowing down the pace just ever so slightly as both competitors get dangerously close to that outside wall. And you're on board with Steve Thompson, showing the damage on the front right of the number 67 machine. Thompson always running the "In Memory of Gary Corbett" graphic on the front of his car, paying homage to his good friend that recently lost his life. So good to see Thompson still out there representing everybody very well, and just a very cool thing for him to be doing. As now he's trying his best to get around Josh Robinson, because every time that he stays a lap behind the number 23 machine, that is allowing MacArthur to stretch his legs, and Robinson dips to the inside line, realizing, hey, I don't have anything for Thompson right now on these older tires. Maybe rethinking his tire strategy choice. But will Thompson be able to get back up there, MacArthur, as he already has a 1.7 second disadvantage to the race leader of Dwayne MacArthur? Now, the earliest we may see MacArthur come in is around the lap 185 mark for a green flag stop, or possibly 180. We've seen these drivers, the last green flag stop, come in with about 50 laps on their set of tires, and that's the point where they deemed it not a whole lot of fun to drive on, opting to take 4 fresh Goodyears and tank of gas a little bit earlier than needed just to make down some quicker lap times here at Darlington. As these drivers have been out on track for quite a long time here tonight. The race has went on for an hour and 30 minutes so far for these competitors. Historically, that's about the regular length of a race during their regular season runs. So a little bit longer format races for the chase rounds, but very, very exciting amongst our competitors. MacArthur found a little bit of speed, but he almost clicked off an identical lap time as MacArthur that last time by. Both drivers running 31.4 as Josh Robinson in third. He was able to click off a 31.35, so even though he's got that older set of tires, staying in the draft of Thompson has allowed him to still kind of keep within striking distance, at least of an overall top 5. And again, only 10 drivers in the top on the lead lap right now, as that yellow flag threw a little bit of a mix into tonight's plans for some of these drivers as far as green flag stops go. Once again, everybody's clicking off laps, not having any big woes or worries. Everybody running single file, just not having any problems out there. We may see another green flag stop situation develop as Dwayne MacArthur out front, making it look easy. And the number 97 machine is last time by at 31.55 compared to Thompson's 31.5. MacArthur, one of those drivers I think that may opt for an earlier stop rather than trying to stretch out a fuel run, valuing tires over more than anything here. If I was a betting man, I think around lap 180 you may see MacArthur coming to pit lane. He does not want to be the driver that stays out the longest, as we've seen Robinson. The tire wear really important, as Robinson was kind of the dominant car earlier on in the number 23 machine. He decided to stay out and risk racing on 8-lap older tires than competition, and that has prevented him from running out front again, as he's dropped almost 3 seconds to Dwayne MacArthur. We're going to cycle back to Josh Robinson. His last time by was a 31.72, so he hasn't lost a whole lot of pace to the race leaders. He's only about a few hundredths of a second slower that last lap by, but not able to really command those lap times that we saw earlier on, where he was able to get out front and kind of check out here. But it seems that Thompson may find a little bit of speed as he is inching a little bit closer to Thompson's edging up closer to MacArthur the last laps, trying to get it under a 1.2 second gap. Again, if you're just turning in for the night, the left side of your screen, all the drivers highlighted in yellow is our chase competitors, as Robert Crisco has a moment and he's able to return to pit lane before the caution comes out. But let's take a quick look at what happened to Robert Crisco out on track. Ooh, Crisco tags the outside wall, crossing the start-finish line, number 28 machine. He's technically still on the apron, so he's going to grab a quick tow to pit lane. And that will probably be the end of the night for Robert Crisco and the number 28 machine. He'll be finishing, I believe, 18th on track, as the only driver behind him that is still running is Brian Lynch and the number 15 machine. Lynch is about 15 laps back from Robert Crisco. So it'll be interesting to see if Crisco goes back out on track to try and salvage some points here tonight, or if he's going to retire and go back to the hauler. Now, Crisco not in the chase runoff here this season. looks like Thompson's finding a little bit of speed here. He's whittled out away that gap to about 8-9 tenths of a second. It was over 2 seconds at one point as MacArthur was running out front and making it look easy. And that's going to be very interesting to see if Thompson's going to be able to catch the draft here of the fast Canadian, your race leader, Dwayne MacArthur, and maybe pull up and interject himself and start a party. Or they may be happy running up 1 and 2 single file, getting through a fuel run together and seeing if they can just try and extend their lap over Josh Robinson, Dakota Pischke, and Tom Ogle, your other top 5 drivers. Again, we're expecting the fuel window to open in 20 laps for these competitors before they decide to come in. As now it is a half second that separates Steve Thompson from Dwayne MacArthur. He's edging closer and closer to the number 97 machine. It's going to be interesting to see if Thompson from Last Ditch Racing will be able to catch up. And then if he does, if he's going to battle for the lead here, or is he going to play it nice and safe and not wanting to cause any incidents? Less than 60 laps remaining in the opening chase round for these competitors. And it has been a long one for all of these guys out on track. You're on board with Steve Thompson. Oh, look at that. MacArthur has a moment. The rear end wiggle happening once more out of turn 2. We've been discussing that all night long. Coming out of turns 2 and turns 4, especially later on in a run, wants to upset these cars for whatever reason. And then the drivers have to do their best to hold on to it to avoid tail tapping the wall here at Darlington. As now MacArthur is going to have company up here for the lead. Steve Thompson has reeled him in. And he has caught the draft of the fast Canadian, the number 97 machine. Can MacArthur hold on to it, as Steve Thompson may have just touched the wall there himself with the world-famous Darlington race stripes. As now MacArthur is also going to have lap traffic the next 5 or 6 laps to contend with as well. And Thompson has the advantage here. The lap traffic is going to have MacArthur come through and be a little bit more aware that, hey, they are coming through. And then in theory, Steve Thompson should be able to get through a little bit easier as lap traffic is already aware of the faster cars cutting through. Now that's in theory. That could completely change and things could get thrown out the window here as race car drivers are going to do what race car drivers do, which is the unexpected. Dwayne MacArthur doing a good job holding on to it out front. He's still keeping about that 0.6 of a second gap over Steve Thompson, as the field is pretty spread out here besides your 2 race leaders. Now Thompson, he didn't have the win percentage of some of the other drivers. He's got 25 starts, 3 DNFs. And he found himself in the top 15, or top 5, excuse me, 13 rounds with 3 wins so far this season. He has got an average win percentage of 12%. Every time he enters, he has a 12% chance of winning the big money here for the Metro Ford Cup Series. And he averages about 2.7 incidents per race, about 0.02 incidents per lap. So a very clean racer, just didn't have the luck he wanted. As now MacArthur is going to punch through lap traffic. Lap traffic is going to yield a position to your 2 race leaders as quickly as they possibly can. And so far, everything going nice and easy for our competitors. Laps are rapidly clicking off for these gentlemen. We've got about 50 laps left to go here at Darlington. As Andrew Hess, Patrick Milligan, they're coming in a little bit early for an undercut. It'll be interesting to see how long MacArthur, Thompson, Robinson, Ogle, Pischke, your top 5 opt to stay out for here. Or they're going to come in a little bit early. I am very intrigued to see what's going to happen with lap traffic. It just takes one incident to ruin your race or somebody else's. As Dwayne MacArthur is going to come down pit road, I believe Josh Robinson stays out, but Steve Thompson's going to join Dwayne MacArthur. Tom Ogle also coming in and hitting his box a little bit earlier ahead of these two drivers. So Josh Robinson opting to stay out. Robinson has not come in since lap 119, so he is really stretching his legs out here today. So how long is, what is going on here? We show Milligan involved in an incident. Let's see if we can get a replay of that one and see what might have happened to Patrick Milligan. No caution came out. Oh! Oh no! Milligan and Hoskins involved with a huge incident. Where did that come from? We're going to change the camera angle, try and get a wider shot here and see what just happened as Hoskins, I don't know rightly what happened with the number 66 machine. If he tagged the outside wall, had a mechanical, or what may have happened. He tags the outside wall, maybe overcorrects, and Patrick Milligan absolutely drills the number 66 driver. Tom Ogle was able to get through there by not a whole lot, as man, oh man, Hoskins and Milligan with big hits, no caution for some reason. And that is going to spell heartbreak for two of the chase drivers here today. Wow. Now that is not the worst news they're going to have all night long, as Hoskins is still going to be within the top 12 of chase drivers. Milligan is just going to be outside the top 12 as finishing chase drivers tonight. But, man, what an unexpected crash here late in the evening. And if the caution did come out, that could have very quickly upset the running order, as Robinson has still stayed out. He's put the entire field one lap down. If he would have had a caution there, that would have been two drivers on the lead lap, which would be almost unheard of. Robinson, again, he has not come in since lap 119, stretching it out as long as he possibly can in the number 23 machine. So he's been out there on about 58 laps now on that set of tires. But now he's going to have a whole lot of fast drivers coming through as Gary Kipfer, I see him. I see Dakota Pischke trying to come through and get their laps back, or at least a lap back. As Robinson goes to the inside line, he may be signifying that he is going to come into pit lane. And yes, we still have 9 drivers on the lead lap. Everybody except for Dean Gear inside the top 10 is in the chase playoffs. MacArthur still out front, accompanied by Steve Thompson by about 3 car lengths, separating your 2 top drivers out on track. Andrew Hess is about 2.3 seconds back from your lead 2 drivers, and he's accompanied by Tom Ogle in the number 11 machine. Josh Robinson, though, he's going to be an eye to keep an eye on as he's whittled it down to, he's gained about a half second on the race leaders already with those fresher set of tires, but is he going to have enough tire and time to catch back up and possibly battle for the lead to try and take it away from Dwayne MacArthur? MacArthur running out front. He's up 6 spots from where he started tonight, so having quite the good night so far. And are we going to see any big moves here from our guys? I don't think either competitor wants to be the first one to make a shot at it, trying to avoid burning up any tires as Josh Robinson puts down the fastest lap of the race with one of the fastest laps with a 30.15. The fastest lap of the race still belongs to Tom Ogle, who clicked off a 29.97 earlier on in the evening. But Robinson puts down at least his personal best lap time, trying to catch up to the rest of the field. Now again, these guys all in the top 9 are really looking good for the chase playoffs, but everybody's wanting to extend those points as quickly as they possibly can. That way they have a little bit of room to breathe in the second or the third round, where the cutoff will be decided before we take 12 more to the next stage. As right in front of your race leaders, we've got a whole lot of smoke going on. Oh, hold on to it. It looks like Dakota Pischke. Oh, what's going to happen here is the leader has to rapidly check up behind lap traffic. These 3 drivers had a big incident. I believe that's going to be Pischke, Gear, and Albie. So a massive moment for Dwayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson, who both opt together to check up, avoid getting into any sort of trouble out here today. And able to keep their nerves underneath them. But man, what a white knuckle moment for your 2 race leaders, MacArthur and Thompson. Less than a car length separates the 2, and they both had to massively check up to avoid getting into any competition here, as now they have lapped up to 8th place, getting around Greg McDaniel's number 30 Chevrolet. These guys are just on a whole different level tonight, making it look nice and easy, as now they have the number 92 machine, Dean Gear, they're going to have to get around. But again, these guys have been very respectful of lap traffic, doing their best to avoid causing any incidents. Just clicking it off, not having any woes or issues. But Dean Gear did have a pit lane, maybe trying to get onto his maybe into his pit stall. Let's see what happens to gear here that triggered live time to show him as a crash. Probably just a lockup, if I had to imagine. No, he missed the pit lane. Sorry, Dean, you made the highlight reel in a way you do not want to normally be showcased as, but it happens. It's late in the race. We're 190 laps in. Competitors have been racing for about 2 hours in the race, not counting the hour of practice, not counting the 10 minute of qualifying. That's a long day for some of these competitors, especially on a holiday weekend, to find yourself sitting in your sim rig for over 2-3 hours at a time. Driver attrition is definitely a factor that these guys are having to face. You get tired in a sim rig. Some of these rigs put out tons and tons of heat. And if you're sitting there static for 2-3 hours at a time, it can really take a toll on both the mind and the body. Because again, if you make any silly mistake, you can ruin your race night and all of the effort. As we've got 30 laps remaining, it's still MacArthur and Thompson out front. The field pretty separated out on track. Crisco has another moment, able to get into pit lane in time before the caution comes out. Nobody wants to cause a caution this late in the run and possibly affect the overall race, especially Dwayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson, who should have enough gas to go all the way to the end very comfortably. As they have about a 3-second lead over Tom Ogle, they want to stay out front and keep clicking off laps, not having any incidents. As you can see, less than a straightaway separates Dwayne MacArthur, Steve Thompson from third place Tom Ogle. And it has been a rough night for several of these drivers here today. As we've had 10, possibly 11 drivers go back to the hauler early, just not having the night they really wanted here today. But right now, things are still looking good for Dwayne MacArthur and Steve Thompson as we get ready to hit our closing laps mark. About 25 laps remaining for our competitors. And it has been a long one here at Darlington. Everybody fighting their own battles and doing their best to avoid some of the carnage we've seen here today. As now Dode Hoskins involved in that big incident just a few laps ago. He's going to go another lap down to Dwayne MacArthur, and Steve Thompson drops to the inside line, allowing the guys through. Nice and professional. Lewis Albee also coming into pit lane as well for the final time here today for the opening round. 25 laps left to go for our race leaders. As we're going to ride on board with Steve Thompson right behind Dwayne MacArthur. It is Chevrolet out front, chased by a few Toyota drivers. As a reminder, Toyota is currently winning the manufacturer's chase. They've got 995 points compared to Chevrolet with 977 points. These guys are doing a great job. The top 10 drivers, top 11 drivers, all chase drivers in the points. It's going to be Patrick Milligan, I believe, is going to be 12th in the chase finishers here today. Milligan has made his way back out on track to salvage some points, so he's going to put himself on the bubble, but saving a potentially disastrous evening. and able to try and capitalize on maybe some other people's mistakes to get out there and click off some laps. Again, we didn't have all the chase drivers show up tonight. I know Kopko, the world famous Peter Kopko, unable to make it tonight, currently on vacation. As up front, MacArthur and Thompson making it look easy. 22 laps left to go. These guys, again, should be able to make it on fuel. No worries with laps to spare. But are we going to see that caution rear its ugly head one final time here tonight? We got close a couple of times. So 20 laps left to go. If we have to restack this field, that could be quite exciting. Because all of a sudden, Josh Robinson, who again came in 7 laps later than MacArthur or Thompson, he's kind of caught up here. It was down to a 12-second gap, but Robinson has worked his way up within really 0.7 of a second of Steve Thompson. So he may have the tires later on here in the run to try and interject himself into a race win. The fact that he's cut through traffic so commandingly after being down 12 seconds after that pit stop, quite impressive out of the driver of the number 23 machine. Robinson's last time by was at 31.41 compared to Thompson and MacArthur, who both clicked off 31.59s. And look at this. Steve Thompson's going to have some competition. The number 23 machine is back in the Toyota Camry. He's going to put the pressure on hard. Again, he came in 7 laps later than MacArthur or Thompson. Has the top 2 drivers saved anything in the reserves to battle off the number 23, or is Robinson going to be able to come through traffic here uncontested with those slightly newer tires? The drivers confirmed it earlier on. If you put about 5 laps on a set of tires and the caution comes out, it's usually worth it to come in and throw on some fresh Goodyears. But now we're about to have a 3-way battle for the lead as Josh Robinson is in the mix, and he's going to look to the inside of Thompson, not able to make it stick, has a bit of a wiggle there on the brakes. And that will give Thompson another half lap to breathe here. That last time by, Robinson was about 0.15 of a second faster than MacArthur and Thompson, who are again clicking off almost identical lap times. We've seen in other races I've broadcasted as well, if you find yourself having to shoot the gap and use a little bit of tire early on, it can really slow you down. As Robinson still has a bit of a tail end wiggle coming out of, I believe that was turn 2. "15 laps left to go as MacArthur crosses the line. We still had the potential for a 3-way battle for first, but is Robinson going to be able to hold any tires underneath him? Because we're not sure how hard MacArthur and Thompson have been pushing this final run. No more time for mistakes. The time is now to try and capitalize on the first chase round of this season. It is MacArthur, Thompson, Robinson, Ogle, Hess, your top 5. The 7 drivers on the lead lap are all within the chase, and the top 11 drivers on track are all within the top 12 bubble to score some much needed points here for the Chase Championship. But this is the question: does Josh Robinson have anything left in reserve to try and catch up to Steve Thompson? He's about a half second back from the race leaders, and the race leaders, that's the question, is how much more do they have in reserve? We know Robinson came in 7 laps later, but he also had to charge through traffic and put down some blistering fast lap times. As that last time by, he was about a 1/10 of a second off the pace from Steve Thompson. So who is going to show what they have left in reserve at this point in the race? It's going to be 12 laps left to go as MacArthur crosses the line. Does Steve Thompson have a little bit left in reserve? As that last time by, MacArthur and Thompson were within 0.04 of a second of each other. Really, the top 3 drivers all running almost identical lap times here. Josh Robinson still running right behind Steve Thompson, trying to make some moves here with 10 laps left to go. Tire wear is the name of the game. Only 7 drivers on the lead lap. We're hoping for a green flag finish here. We've seen a great race punctuated by some cautions and a few great saves as drivers were keeping the doing their best to prevent bringing out a caution. The laps are quickly clicking off. About half a second separates MacArthur and Thompson, as well as another half a second that separates Thompson and Robinson. Ogle finds himself about 7 seconds back from the lead pack. So are we going to see any big moves up here in the top 3? Or are they going to be happy finishing 1, 2, and 3? If I know these drivers at all, is that they're going to do everything in their power to try and bring home a race win if it's within their ability. As now Dwayne MacArthur is about to face more lap traffic ahead of him. And that could be the monkey wrench in tonight's race with 7 laps left to go. MacArthur is going to have to get through traffic as quickly as he possibly can, not getting hung up at all, as any mistake he makes will be quickly capitalized on by Steve Thompson or Josh Robinson. I believe that may be Dakota Pischke right in front of your race leader. It is. That is Dakota Pischke about to go a lap down to MacArthur, another lap down, I should say. MacArthur and Thompson get through nice and easy, no problems there. Not much. It looks like Robinson was able to catch up a little bit here, but not a crazy amount. As about 2 or 3 car lengths separating our top 3 drivers in between each other. It is still MacArthur, Thompson, Robinson running in a 3-pack out front with 5 laps left to go over quite the long race. These drivers have been racing for 2 hours out on track. Again, not counting qualifying, not counting practice. It is a long day on a holiday weekend, but these guys are doing a great job running around strong out front. 4 to go. Is anybody going to be able to answer? As the caution comes out with 4 laps left to go, nobody wanted to see this. Greg McDaniel showing as an incident as the flagman feverishly waves the flag. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen here? As I believe it's Greg McDaniel involved, the number 30 machine. Let's take a look. Look, McDaniel on the right side of your screen. He's right behind Dakota Pischke's number 1. Is it the infamous Darlington tail tap we've seen happen time and time and again every race we broadcast here at this track, and several times? Yes, McDaniel tags the outside wall, absolutely clobbers himself on the inside wall, and then able to hit both sides of the racetrack in one crash. He's going to lock up the brakes, hoping to avoid getting hit by any of the race leaders as Tom Ogle dives through. But oh my goodness. Everyone's going to come into pit lane here for 4 fresh tires, I believe. MacArthur, Thompson, Robinson, Ogle, Hess. All coming in. It's going to be a final shootout to decide who wins the chase. Oh my goodness, this is about to be a white knuckle action, ladies and gentlemen. You paid for the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge, as after 2 hours, this is going to be decided on a final sprint race. Let us know, who are you voting for to win the opening round of the Chase Championship? Will it be Ogle, Robinson, Mule, Hess, Thompson, MacArthur, Turner? Even Kipfer's in the mix, the number 68 machine. We've only got 7 drivers on the lead lap here today. Everybody taking 4 fresh tires and a tank of gas. It'll be MacArthur, Thompson, Robinson, Ogle coming out of pit lane here. And I believe this will put us into green-white checker conditions. All the hard work, all the strategy these drivers worked on, thrown out the window as a final caution comes out. Oh my heart can't take it, ladies and gentlemen. Steve Thompson spins it coming out of pit road. What happened? What on earth transpired here? Thompson must have had a mechanical. He crashes on the warm-up lap. Thompson able to get it fired up and going back in the direction, but I'm not sure what happened there. It must have been a mechanical out of the number 67 machine. That is unheard of to see from Steve Thompson. I gotta say, not how I expected tonight to go. So up front, it is gonna be MacArthur, Robinson, Ogle, Hess, Thompson, Turner, Kipfer on the lead lap here. Definitely not what was expected. For the final shootout after a grueling race from all of our competitors, we're going to be put into green-white checker conditions as we get the field formed up for possibly the final time here today for the opening round of the Chase playoffs for the Metro Ford Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League. It's Dwayne MacArthur, Josh Robinson side by side. Robinson had worked so hard through the field. Who's going to have the short run speed? As again, all of the strategy these drivers have worked on tonight completely thrown out the window with a final caution. Just like that, we're on equal footing amongst all of our competitors, and we are all on fresh tires ready to go back out. As here we go, the pace car will be in this time by. Again, it's MacArthur and Robinson on the front row. The Canadian number 23 Team Miata driver. The pace car comes in. And as MacArthur and Robinson step on the loud pedal. MacArthur with a great launch. But will he be able to hold off Josh Robinson's number 23 machine? It seemed like Robinson had so much incredible speed with those fresh tires. As now is MacArthur, Robinson, Ogle running 1, 2, 3. 2 laps left to go. Who's going to have the pace to bring it home in the end? Can MacArthur hold off Robinson number 23 machine? Because Robinson has the fortunate position. He's got a teammate right behind him to push as needed. Robinson looks to the inside line, crossing the start-finish line. MacArthur carries a little bit more speed as they go side by side into turn 1. MacArthur is not going to lift. He is not going to yield at all. He's going to do everything in his power to keep the number 23 machine behind him as they come down the backstretch for the final time. It's MacArthur, Robinson, Ogle, Hess, and Turner, your top 5. The white flag is out. The checkered will fly this time by. Robinson looks to give MacArthur a bit of a shove, a bit of a wiggle. Robinson spins to the inside line. He crashes here at the end. That is going to allow MacArthur, Ogle, and Hess to take the top 3 as Robinson goes careening across the racetrack. My, oh my, what a night here tonight for the opening round of the Metro Ford Cup Series chase. Absolute calamity here in the final laps. 2 hours of racing decided by a green-white checkered and a final careening race car. Who would have thought that is what's going to happen today as MacArthur, Ogle, and Hess line up for their mandatory fun pictures. Beatings will continue until morale improves, and these guys put on a fantastic show here today. Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian, he fought tooth and nail for that victory here today, and a hard-earned win for the number 97, the fast Canadian, who, man, that was a close one all the way through as our cameras seem to have broken as we watch MacArthur burn it down on pit lane. A well-deserved win at Darlington. Absolute white knuckle from start to finish, and he put on a fantastic show here, and he deserves to have it in the victory lane. What a fantastic race from all of our competitors. Hang tight as we tie and get our drivers up into pit lane for their interview. We've got Tom Ogle on standby. We're waiting for Andrew Hess and MacArthur. Man, what a race here today. We've got Dwayne MacArthur. Now we're waiting on Andrew Hess to make his way up into the booth. And here we go. We've got Andrew Hess and the number 54 machine. Andrew, all around, what a night. Did you expect any of this into the first chase round tonight?
I thought I'd be good here. I think I won the last time, and I was really excited, but I had a weird iRacing pit road thing when the caution came out the first time.
Now, do you think you would have done better if we stayed green all the way in, or was that final caution a bit of a godsend for you in the number 54 machine?
Oh, I think that was a godsend. The only reason, normally I don't short pit like that, but I was after just trying to make the track position up after iRacing treated me like a lucky dog, so I was doing just about anything I could to try to jump a little higher, but I was pretty much spent at that.
And Andrew, I guess my final question is, we've seen so many wall taps and guys careening across the racetrack coming out of turns 2 and 4, especially later in the run. What makes the car want to push wide like that, especially the tail end, or is it the track itself that induces itself to some high-speed crashes?
I think it's the track. There's just not a lot of grip. Track was pretty hot today, so it was pretty slick, so you kind of had like a snappy loose on exit and then a push on entry.
Well, you did great out there, man. Congratulations on a third. I don't think that was what anybody expected going in tonight as far as how the overall race went, not just your performance, but you're able to survive a lot of calamity and able to bring it home under green-white checker conditions. Before I let you sign off, Andrew, who would you like to give thanks to that helps cheer on that number 54 machine week in and week out?
Well, first you got to thank the sponsors, Metro Ford and you, James, for doing a hell of a broadcast. The guys here do a great job on green flag runs, and hope we put on a good show.
Well, always a pleasure, Andrew. Hope to see you continue this good luck streak in the Race to the Chase playoffs, and well done again, my friend.
Thank you.
That was Andrew Hess bringing it home in third today. But now we've got Tom Ogle, the White Claw sponsored bright pink number 11 Toyota driver for Team Miata. That's a lot of different conflicting sponsors there, but we'll breeze past that. Tom, are you happy with second place, or what did you think going into that green-white checker finish?
I'm really happy with second place considering I got a speeding penalty. I bounced off the wall a couple times. I kind of thought the outside row, I thought Andrew would get a better start there and I would end up probably fourth. I wasn't too excited about the green white checker. I was pretty happy where I was. You know, I had kind of resigned myself to fourth place in a top five. I've had a terrible week here, just making bad pit calls, wrecking. So a top five was like a win to me.
Well, I mean, even better, you got a second place. Now, did you have to pay your teammate Josh Robinson to dive down the inside in the last lap? Was that a planned team order, or was that just bad luck for the number 23 machine?
That was just he clipped the apron and staying in the gas and running out of talent. That's what he said.
Now, Tom, this seems to be probably one of the rougher races we broadcasted as far as drivers having a tough go-around to the track here at Darlington. What makes it so tough for these guys to navigate the racetrack at speed, especially over those long green flag runs?
The tires wear out, and it's a loose setup, which I like. So it just is a little bit more of a handful than normal, and the short spoiler and the high horsepower, you just got to really learn to drive off the right rear, and a lot of guys have trouble with that. And also, like, you can get out of rhythm here and lose 2 seconds in a lap, you know, especially 1 and 2. You know, how you go in hard and then you let off the gas and you got to get turned down off the track. It just, it's probably the hardest track we run. Honestly, I am not a fan of Darlington at all, but I am today, I guess.
Well, I say that's easy to say when you're up on the podium. Tom, before I let you sign off and celebrate and enjoy your holiday weekend, who would you like to give a shout out to behind the scenes that's supporting you and the Team Miata team out there today?
Oh, just my teammates, Josh and Andrew and Randy. We all kind of worked together. Andrew had some pretty good strategy there at the end, and we kind of give each other a break, but we helped each other the whole time. And the admins running the league and all the guys run the league, and you do a great job broadcasting. I appreciate you broadcasting.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Great job as always, and hope to see you continue that good luck in the bright pink number 11 throughout the rest of the chase here for the OBRL Metro Ford Cup Series.
All right. Hey, thank you very much.
Very welcome, sir.
We'll see you next week.
And up next, the man of the hour, the fast Canadian, and my friend Dwayne MacArthur on the top spot for the opening chase round. Dwayne, is that at all what you expected going into tonight?
Well, it's what I hoped for. It's the one I had circled in the first round, and I really needed to make sure I made it count here today. The next 2 tracks in this first round definitely aren't my best. So the RG Customs Chevy was a rocket.
Yeah, I mean, all throughout the race, you had a fast car, especially on those good green flag runs. It looked like once you got some clean air, it was easier to put your head down and click off laps. Was it the clean air? Was it the lack of guys around you harassing you? Or what made it so much easier once you're out front and just able to drive to put down those fast lap times?
Yeah, to be honest, the first couple runs there, I just wanted to hang out behind everybody else, stay out of trouble, log some laps, save my tires in case they went long. As the runs went longer, car kind of came in there. I was just really biding my time. Steve and myself were just kind of riding around and weren't in a hurry to try to get to the front, but it was nice once we got up there that we could run our own pace.
Now, that green-white checker definitely threw a wrench in everyone's plans here today. Were you worried at all that Robinson was going to have crazy short-run speed after you guys were pretty much the dominant cars for the long-run speed, but the short run kind of had everybody a little bit on edge there. Were you worried at all going into that green-white checker what was going to happen?
Yeah, when that flag came out, I might have yelled pretty loud. I was not happy at the time. Steve was there, and the 3 Miata cars. So that's 4 very, very fast cars. I did not think it was going to work out. I knew I was going to have to probably drive a little more aggressive than I normally do. And Josh has stole a lot of races from me on the last lap. So those thoughts were definitely going through my head.
Well, Dwayne, again, great job out there, man. That was a great race to watch from start to finish. Probably one of the longest races we've had all season. Just by design, I think, not even counting the cautions, it was a grueling race for all of you guys out on track. Before we let you sign off and go celebrate and just wind down for the weekend, who would you like to give a shout out to behind the scenes that support the number 97 machine out on track?
Yeah, of course, my sponsor, REG Customs, and Steve Thompson. We did a lot of practice, extra practice, and keeps me calm on the radio during the run when I get myself worked up. I think the last 25 laps, 30 laps there, he just kept telling me to stop looking at my relative and quit looking in my mirror, and it really helped out. I was able to hit my marks a little bit better and came home with the win. So a lot of help to him, and then just a shout out to everybody at the OBRL. They keep coming, we keep racing, and it's a great place to turn laps.
Well, Dwayne, always well spoken, my friend. Congratulations on a very well-deserved win. That was a tough one for you, and hope to see you carry that success to the rest of the chase rounds. As you're right now, you're the guy to beat.
I am not the guy to beat, but I'm in the next round. But I appreciate that, and everybody listening, go check out Metro Ford, emetroford.com. Go buy some cars and support our sponsor for our league. And thanks, James.
Well said, my friend. That was the race winner, Dwayne MacArthur, the fast Canadian with last-ditch racing, the number 97 driver who put it on the very top spot after a long and tough race out there at Darlinton for the opening round of the Metro Ford Cup Series at the Old Bastards Racing League. The opening round of chase was nothing short of excitement, but it was MacArthur, Ogle, and Hess able to put it on the podium. As always, on behalf of emetroford.com, oldbastardsracing.com, and Team Goon Squad Broadcasting, I'm James East. Thanking you all so much for tuning in tonight. We'll see you same time, same place as we go into round 2 of the chase. Have a great night, everyone.